Hello viewers, and welcome back to the channel. So today I am reviewing this, the new Focus Atlas 8.9. It's a carbon fibre gravel bike, and later in the video we'll find out how it rides and performs. But first, let me give you a tour of the bike, point out some cool details, features, and talk about the price as well. Now, Focus isn't the most high profile bike brand in the business, but the company was founded way back in 1992 by cross world champion Mike Klug, and despite that off-road heritage, it's odd that a company is taking this long to launch a dedicated gravel bike, but here we go. And today we'll find out if the wait was worth it. So we're dealing with a full carbon fibre frame and fork. There are aluminium versions available lower down the price range. We've got a space of 45mm wide tyres. We have a fairly relaxed sort of mountain bike inspired geometry with a slack head angle, long reach, short stem, similar to a Merida Silex or Villiers Adler that I reviewed earlier this year. Lots of mounts on the fork and frame for bike packing, so if you're going off-road, going adventuring, you can add bags and racks and water bottles. And they even do their own rear rack assembly for adding driver bags to the frame as well. So I really thought about the details for that adventure bike packing cyclist. Other cool details include the fact you get a top tube bag for your snacks and bits and bobs with the bike, so no extra cost there. You can remove it, of course, if you want. I like the fact we have a regular round seat post and an external seat clamp, so you can fit a dropper seat post or a suspension seat post, or upgrade it to a carbon fibre seat post for a bit more comfort if you want that. You can fit mud guards or fenders as well if you want that sort of all-round versatility, two bikes in one, as many people are buying gravel bikes for. So it all sounds good so far, but there is one interesting detail that could be a deal breaker. We have wider axle spacing at the fork and the frame than a regular gravel bike, and they've adopted what in the mountain bike world is called boost. So a 110 front axle and a 148 rear axle compared to the conventional 100 and 142 you normally get on a gravel or road bike. And their reasoning for using that wider axle spacing is a slightly stronger wheels you get from the hub flanges essentially being further apart and creating a slightly tougher wheel set, which for the adventure bike packing capabilities of the bike is no bad thing. But whether that marginal benefit is worth the headache it can cause if you are changing the wheels, upgrading the wheels, is another matter. So let me know what you think of this move by leaving a comment down below. Thumbs up, thumbs down, love to get your feedback on this topic. While Focus isn't the most high profile brand, they are quite a popular brand because they make well-designed bikes and the value for money has usually been pretty good. So the range starts with an aluminium offering at just £1,700 and goes right up to £5,500 for the top of the range carbon model. And this one here costs £4,500 with DT Swiss alloy wheels and a SRAM Rival Explore group set, Eastern handlebar and a Saddleback saddle. And on my scales, this bike, as you see it, with pedals and a computer, weighs 9.35 kilograms. So pretty decent weight for the bike and the specification, and that includes the bag as well. So you certainly could make it a bit lighter if you wanted to, but weight, that definitely shouldn't hold you back on the climbs. So that specification for the money sounds pretty good, but isn't amazing. So for example, a Giant Revolt is £4,900 with similar parts, but you do get carbon fibre wheels. And a Canyon Grail CFSL with the same group set and similar wheels is a bit of a bargain at £3,400. So the Focus does split the difference between a direct sales brand in Canyon and a brand like Giant with a large dealer network around the country, around the world. Anyway, those are the main details. I think it's time to go for a ride. So let's hit the trail and see how it performs. Well, I found some mud. Trails are so slippery, so damp in places at the moment. Roll on spring, roll on summer. Okay, let's start with fit and geometry. The bike is nice and relaxed, perfect for a long distance rider. bike packing, and it does remind me of the Merida Silex and Villiers Adler and other mountain bike inspired gravel bikes with that slacker head angle, longer reach and quite a high front end. So it's not an aggressive head down racing gravel bike by any stretch of the imagination, but for long distance bike packing, touring, riding the bike is designed for, it's absolutely spot on. You won't get any back strain riding this bike at all, and the geometry also more relaxed than most racier gravel bikes that head angle, quite a long wheelbase, and when you're cruising along, plodding along a gravel track like I am now, it feels pretty docile and a bit, well, lacking in that engagement. But again, ideal for long distance riding where you don't want a super twitchy, fast steering bike. You want it to be calm and settled so you can focus on the distance, getting the miles done and feeding and enjoying the view and the riding and the adventure you're on. But then when you get off a tame gravel track like I'm on right now and into some twistier mountain bike trails, which there are plenty of here in the Forest of Dean, that all makes a lot of sense. When you're in the drops, I'm liking the nice eastern wide shallow flare drop handlebar on this bike, a nice detail by Focus, the spec handlebars. The bike gives you a lot more confidence. I know it's an overused word, but it does instill that ability to really carry a lot more speed through a single track, through the corners, because less of your weight is pitched over the front, so you can really carry a lot more speed into corners and not have to scrub the brakes as much as you would on a lower, more aggressive, steeper gravel race bike, even like my own Crux. So an ideal bike for adventure, bike packing riding, where you are riding very chunky, unknown trails because they're new to you. The bike won't leave you in the lurch on any twisty, tight single track, and then it really settles down into a nice canter on the smoother gravel. So the bike is very nice to ride, a very pleasant experience. It's not what I call a fast or snappy bike. It doesn't get up to speed or snap out of the corner with the same urgency as some racier gravel bikes, and it's not like it's heavy, and the frame is definitely stiff enough, that much is certain, but definitely more of a steady away sort of bike than a bike gonna just pull your socks off every time you stamp on the pedal. Something about the bike that's taking the shine away a little is when I'm riding the rougher trails where it's a bit rockier, the bike is a bit jarring, it's quite firm. Definitely a lot of stiffness in the package, quite a lot of feedback coming through the seat post and saddle when you encounter those rocks and roots. So not the smoothest or floatiest gravel bike, not as smooth as my Specialized Crux with the same tyres, or same tyre width anyway, or the Giant Revolt. The Giant Revolt is definitely a smoother bike through the saddle thanks to that defused carbon seat post, but this bike has an alloy seat post, and if you swapped it for carbon, you might get a bit more comfort. But if I buy the bike, I would probably spec a suspension seat post or a VC LS split seat post, just for a bit more compliance through the saddle and just give my back a slightly easier time, especially for longer rides. This bike is so ideally suited for that comfort issue to one side. I mean, I'm really picking hairs here, but trying to highlight some of those small differences between this bike and other bikes in the category you might consider. My goodness me, the trails are so muddy right now. This is definitely not gravel anymore, it's squelching mud. Thankful of the 45mm wide WTB Riddler tyres for a bit more grip. Not the most aggressive in the mud, but coping pretty well actually. And then they're still fast on the road and hard packed gravel. So good compromise really, good tyre. And while this probably isn't gravel for most people, I do like exploring trails and mixing together regular gravel with road and single track and muddy bits like this. And the gravel bikes just lets you ride it all. You're not always on the right bike, but you're certainly not on the wrong bike. And the geometry and fit of this bike definitely makes riding this sort of trail a much more pleasant experience than a racier, aggressive, twitchier gravel bike. I think I've done a nice job, Focus. All right, so back onto some more regular gravel. Road over there, gravel over here. I know which I prefer. Good ride that, and I found some mud, always a bonus. So let me share some likes and dislikes and sum up this review with my verdict in a few moments. Let's start with likes. I really like the way the bike rides. Very pleasant indeed, thanks to the geometry and the fit. Some equipment highlights to mention. I do like the Rival Explore gearing, plenty of range, good for steep climbs, fast single track sections. The Riddler tyre is a good choice too. Nice and quick on the road, surprisingly so. No noise, good on hard packed gravel, and pretty decent in the mud and slipperier, gloopier stuff as well. So good fit and forget option. I like the shallow flared handlebar from Eastern as well, and bar tape. That handlebar gives you loads of control when you are sweeping from corner to corner, so I like that. Nice comfy saddle as well. I love the fact you get a top tube bag as well, which works really well. Better than having Velcro straps on there, and you can remove it if you don't like it as well. Now some dislikes, and there aren't really too many, but there is one main overriding issue for me, and it's a small one but it's worth sharing. Is the ride quality is a bit on the firmer side. It's definitely a bit jarring where you hit rougher tracks, rocks and roots, and a bit firm through the saddle. But I do think a carbon seat post or a flexi seat post or a suspension seat post would eliminate that issue quite nicely. So that would be my preference if I'm buying a bike, to give a bit more comfort to the bike. But the flip side to that firmness I felt in the ride quality is that it's very reassuringly solid. It's definitely a stout feeling bike. You really chuck it around, smash it through rocky trails, so it feels very solid and built to last, and a bike that would be dependable on a long distance bike packing trip. And the other possible deal breaker with this bike is the axle spacing. As I mentioned earlier, it's wider than a regular bike, the same as a modern mountain bike. And while there may be benefits to it, I couldn't really tell what they were at riding compared to a regular bike. And it does present an issue with upgrading the wheels if you want to go to some fancy carbon wheels, or you have some spare wheels already with different tyres and you want a bike, as many people do, for riding road and gravel and have two sets of wheels and tyres ready to go. So that is an issue, and I'm not sure whether it's the right move for Focus to be so bold in that department. It may well be that in 5 years time that all gravel bikes have boost spacing, but hopefully not, because I can't really see any reason to change a standard we have all got used to over the last few years, with things like disc brakes and flat mount standards really settling down. And to bring along another standard perhaps isn't the smartest move, but let me know your thoughts on that topic down below. So verdict time, should you buy the Focus Atlas 8.9? Well, I think you should definitely consider it and shortlist it. There are lots of things to like: the equipment, the look of the bike, the way it rides, that fit and geometry. And if you change the seat post, I think the comfort will be pretty good. The value for money is okay, not the best in the world. That giant Revolt does get carbon wheels, which are not necessarily better, but perhaps nicer. And I know the comfort of that Revolt platform is really good as well, thanks to that D-fuse seat post, and would offer a smoother ride than the bike here. And that Giant might just edge out this bike for me if I was personally choosing between these two bikes, but very close indeed. And there are, of course, plenty of other good gravel bikes to consider, and you can see which ones I recommend by watching the video right up here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel by hitting the button right here. But that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. It started raining, so I'm going to head home and give the bike and myself a wash.